All right. Hello, Vanderbilt students. My name is Alex Rizzuto from the Career Center, and welcome to InterVU, where I conduct interviews with Vanderbilt upperclassmen so you can see, one, how they spent their summer, two, how they found the opportunity that they did, and three, how you can get started doing the same. And today I have Crystal Cheng with me. Crystal is a junior studying civil engineering, and this past summer she had interned with the Maryland Area Commuter Rail. To get us started, Crystal, when did you start looking for internships and how did you learn about this one?
Yeah, so I think I started kind of panicking about internships like maybe end of fall semester my freshman year when everyone was like talking about it and like the news from upperclassmen started trickling down to us. But in terms of this particular organization, because I live in Baltimore, I actually take this train all the time, commuting between Baltimore and DC. So that's how I found out about this organization.
Yeah, great. Firsthand knowledge. There you go. Yeah, see, and that's a testament to you don't always need to look on job boards. Just opening your eyes up and everyday life can show you something. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And then so you said you learned about it because like you ride on this train, you're aware of it. How did you like actually acquire it? Like, did you have to email someone? Did you look on a job board? How did that go about?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Everyone who I've talked to about this has been like really shocked. But I was home over winter break, and I was riding on the train, and I was like, so I kind of have some prior interest in public transit, and I came into college. I took a gap year before coming into college, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to decide on what my interest is, I guess. And I was like, public transit? Okay, cool. Seems like the intersection of a lot of interesting things. So I was on the train and I was like, I need something to do over the summer. And I talked to one of the train conductors, actually. It was a really quiet train. And there was like one other person in the car because it was late at night. And I was like, hey, like, do you know if there's any internships with Mark by any chance? And he was like, oh man, I don't know. You could maybe check online. But actually, I know the person that you should contact, but I don't remember their email. Wait, get out your phone real quick. I think I can find him on Facebook. And I was like, okay. So he helped me find the person that I should contact on Facebook. And I like wrote him a Facebook message being like, I'm sorry, this is super unprofessional, but like I was on a train. I talked to one of your conductors and he mentioned that I should talk to you. Do you have any opportunities with the Maryland Transit Association or with Mark Train? For this upcoming summer, kind of basic introductions. And then he messaged me back being like, yeah, send me your information, your resume, and any relevant things to my email. And that's how that got started.
And it all just started from there. Incredible. That's fantastic. I'm just picturing you like tapping the conductor and being like, do you have any internship opportunity? That's so fantastic. Yeah. But again, that's just showing how being proactive in your everyday life and making those connections for yourself can pay dividends. So that's really cool story. So now once you actually had the internship, what would you say a day in the life of that internship looked like?
Yeah, so I think at Mark Train, they recently like kind of canceled their official internship program. So it was less structured than maybe a lot of other people's internship experiences. But since it was my first internship and I kind of had no exposure to the industry at all, like that worked out really well because I was able to get a really broad kind of introduction to everything. And really there was no like official day-to-day kind of. I would go in and it'd be like, oh, now you're doing this and this, and then as things got started I like kind of shadowed different people in the office and followed them along with like station inspections. And then kind of the overarching project that I would do in my downtime, I guess, when I wasn't out and about following people, was I worked on this like data, I guess it would be train capacity study, in order to eventually render it in GIS, which is Geographic Information Systems. Anyways, that technical, boring details. So it was a combination of just like trapezing around Maryland and into DC and sitting at my desk and doing data stuff.
Cool. That sounds really interesting. Yeah, I've always been the type of person would see like road signs and be like, how did this get here? How did they need to put this here? So that's always really interesting stuff to me. So what would you say is probably like your favorite part of your internship?
Yeah, I think just like tagging along with everyone in the car rides where I
Hmm.
like followed people around to different places, I got to really uh, tap into the wealth of knowledge that everyone had,
Yeah.
and get a bunch of like very diverse perspectives on kind of the things that are impacting the transit realm, especially because I think in class we learn all about a lot of broad trends and like the general system works this way, but then like getting into the nitty gritty of like, oh, this is like what happens in daily train operation and like station maintenance, and these are all the things that we actually have to consider. It's not just about like, oh, let's design a fancy new line.
Yeah.
And there was also construction happening like with the new line
Hmm.
while I was there, and I got to kind of hear the perspective from, I guess, the people who are actually running it, how that kind of blends in
Yeah. Oh,
with
it's
the,
really cool. What
yeah.
could you give us like an example of, like, I know you said how that you got to see like more of the day-to-day like train operation, what that looked like. Like what would be an example of something that they were working on, or maybe something they had to react to, or anything like that?
Yeah. So this is an extreme example, but at one point, one thing that happened was there was I think a big thunderstorm or something. And one of the teams in Mark is like the operational team.
Hmm.
And one of the things that happened was that uh, like a big tree fell over the railroad tracks.
Oh goodness.
Um, and so then the trains were all blocked off, and it's like a huge schedule catastrophe.
Hmm.
And at one point, there were actually like the conductors like like got off the train with like a handsaw, because you're not allowed to keep chainsaws on the trains,
Oh my gosh.
and we're like hacking at this tree. And so the operating team was like calling and like dispatch, having to communicate with dispatch and like make sure that no train collisions would happen due to
Oh
this
wow.
backup and all of this. So I obviously, as an unknowing intern, I just kind of watched
That's funny.
and didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one thing. And then another thing that happened that was kind of dramatic was there was flooding in near Camden Yards, which is like this baseball field in
Hmm.
Baltimore. And one of the stations in downtown Baltimore, like for the light rail, like the ground just
Yeah.
collapsed. Maybe you heard of this. I don't know. It was on the news. So my, I guess, point of contact, her husband was like very involved with that, and just like the chaos surrounding
Oh
uh,
wow.
recovering from that.
Jeez. Well, it sounds like you got some great experience, if only just to see those things happen and how those people react to such
Yeah,
unplanned interventions in the in the train system.
yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, so we sort of went off there, but because I know we were, no, that was great. Those are incredible examples. But we were initially asking like favorite part of your internship and how you got to see all these different things. What would you say was probably like the least favorite part of your internship?
Yeah, I think there were times when, and I think that this is a shared experience in like with a lot of people, just from my conversations with my friends, but there were times when I don't think they really knew what to do with me.
Yeah.
So like I would kind of go around the office and ask everyone who I knew. I'd be like, hey, do you have anything that I could help you with? Do you have anything I can help you with? Like paperwork, whatever you want me to look something up, I got it. And then they'd be like, no, I'm good, thanks. And everyone was super nicely rejecting me. And then I'd go back to my desk and I'd be like twiddling my thumbs, like, I guess I can just learn more about the train system online.
Nice.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think like those downtimes of like not really knowing what to do
Yeah.
um, were kind of the worst, because I
Yeah.
was like, but yeah. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people experience again. So
Definitely.
don't feel too bad about
Mhm.
that if
Yeah.
that happens to you.
No, I think that's a great thing to share, and it sounds like you responded proactively to it though, and still learning about the train systems while during that downtime whenever no one had additional projects for you. So that's good. Um, But okay, Crystal, last question. So what advice do you have for students interested in working in transportation?
Yeah, I would say that talk to people. That's really kind of obvious, but everyone who I talked to through the internship um, were like really open about sharing their experiences,
Mhm.
and also that I think transit is and transportation is something that like really affects everyone on a personal level. So kind of finding that gap, bridging that gap between like the consumer experience and the academic elements.
Yeah.
But also at Vandy specifically, like with MoveVU, we have so much happening in the transportation realm that's really interesting and really exciting.
Yeah.
So like absolutely don't be afraid to reach out and get involved. The lab that I'm currently in, I reached out to my professor like 3 different times, being like, hey, can I help? Hey, can I join? Like, hey, will you like I want to be involved.
Yeah.
And then it was like 3 rejections, and then he was like, hey, like do you want to be involved with this, like we have an opening. And I'm like, yes. um
Like, what
so
gave you that idea?
yeah, where would
Yeah.
you, how
Yeah.
unexpected.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that, Crystal. Yeah, and I think your situation especially is a great testament to how just putting yourself out there, taking those chances, even tapping the conductor on your local train can lead to great experiences. So thank you again for sharing with us. And as a reminder to students watching, know that the Career Center is here to help you with finding internships, preparing your application materials, talking about what's the best way to go about networking, whether it's tapping conductors and messaging people on Facebook, or identifying folks on job boards and reaching out to them through LinkedIn, whatever it might be. If you ever have questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to your career center coach. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Be on the lookout for more videos like this in the future. And Crystal, again, thank you. Appreciate you. And
Thanks for having me.
of course, yeah, we'll see you later, everyone.